Hello and welcome to this week's In Focus at WCTV. I'm your guest host for the week, Phil D'Amico, and many thanks to Eric Marsh and the staff here for allowing me to be the guest host this week. This week we're going to talk about the holiday season. We're going to catch up with Sandy Matthews, the store manager at Meijer. She'll give us an update on the shopping season, how things are going. We'll also talk to Richmond head basketball coach Rick Wedlow as we connect with him on holiday hoops and holiday basketball tournaments. But first, we have a very special treat. We're going to talk about some of the great initiatives that are going on in our community to help those that are underserved in our community. And we have some great individuals doing some extraordinary things here in Wayne County. We want to start with first Officer Aaron Stevens of the Richmond Police Department. We also welcome Pastor Pat Dale. He's the Associate Pastor of Bethesda Worship Center. And then we also welcome Olivia Dudas, who is in 6th grade at Seton, who's doing some pretty cool things in our community as well. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. First off, thank you for your service to our community. And Officer, thank you as well. By the way, we're not getting you in trouble for skipping school, right? We do have a police officer here that can vouch for you being here today. But it's great, again, to have all of you doing the work. Officer Stevens, I know you were involved with something called Shop with a Cop. And maybe give us an overview of that.
Well, first of all, I need to correct you.
Sure.
It's shop with an officer.
Shop with an officer. Gotcha.
Shop with an officer, because the term shop with a cop is copyrighted. So when we do this every December, we put it out there, shop with an officer. And we just were able to conduct that earlier this month, and it was a great opportunity to serve about 17 young people from around the community.
And you're in this community, immersed, doing so many things, and we appreciate your service. What have you seen? Is every year, does it seem like we have more individuals that are in need, and those that are underprivileged, underserved?
Unfortunately, Phil, yes. It seems like as time goes by, and I will have come February, I will have 32 years on as a member of the Richmond Police Department. But I've seen the growing needs of individuals and families just expand exponentially in that time. And unfortunately, it really seems like in a country of such great wealth, we still have such an impoverished group of people in our communities and throughout the nation that need to be served and are oftentimes underserved.
Yeah, give me an overview of what you did then during the day when you were able to bless 17 individuals.
Well, it starts out with everyone coming together, police officers from the Richmond Police Department, from the Wayne County Sheriff's Department, and other agencies from around the area. We come together and we're paired up with students young people and their families who meet us at the city building. We connect with them. We're all given a young person who we take out with them. And there is a vetting process. And the reason being, again, so many people are underserved. We want to make sure that we're getting opportunities and giving opportunities to some of those individuals who have not currently been served by other organizations like the Salvation Army or other churches. Because unfortunately in this world we do have people who will go from opportunity to opportunity to opportunity, and there's still an individual or a family that gets underserved. So after we are paired up with our young people, then we go and we sit them in our police cars. We turn on the lights and sirens. We have a parade downtown. Unfortunately this year, because of the construction on Main Street, we had to use the alternate route of South A Street.
Right.
But lights and sirens, kids getting on our radios, FCC don't get us on that, but kids getting on our radios and talking and wishing Merry Christmas and singing Christmas carols all the way. This year we went again to Walmart. Previously we had partnered with Meijer in the past. I want to thank them again for being our partners in the past. We get there, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus are waiting for us, and the staff are there. And we have a breakfast, and from there it's go have at it with shopping. And we spend, between roughly about $200 on each of the kids.
That's fantastic. That's great. And Pastor, you being affiliated with a church and a worship center, you probably see a ton of needs in our community. Maybe give an overview of just this time of year. It's probably tough for some individuals.
Yeah, that's very true. We do see quite a bit of need out there. One of the things, we do have a heart for the city, and we want to stay connected with them. We don't want to just to be an organization. We want to be an outreach center there. So we've actually are just finishing up our third outreach. We just come through Operation Christmas Child, which is through Samaritan's Purse, which is giving gifts to children in third world countries. And then today, actually, I'm finishing up Angel Tree, which is a prison fellowship connection for our local children who have parents that are incarcerated. But what we're really excited about starting now is we're really beginning to push our Christmas to Go outreach, which is delivering hot turkey meals to those who are perhaps limited either physically, financially, or perhaps they're single and they just don't want to go through the hassle of preparing a large traditional dinner for themselves. So we're able to deliver those, and our goal this year on Christmas Day is to deliver 1,000 hot turkey dinners.
That's fantastic. So obviously, you, similar to Officer Stevens, have been in this community for a while. You had mentioned you're from Hagerstown, Wayne County.
Certainly.
What have you seen? I mean, have the needs grown, and how has it changed, I guess, over the years?
Yeah, you know, every year we increase more and more because there's more and more that is asked for, and we try certainly to accommodate that as best we can. But we do see an increase every year. I think many times with financial restrictions, and we do our best to meet those needs.
Yeah. Now, Olivia, first off, you're the star of the show, so it's great to have you here. Forget these guys over here. But you have something which I thought was interesting: traveling bag of kindness, correct? Maybe give us, what that is, an overview of what that traveling bag of kindness is, and how it got started.
So the traveling bag of kindness is where you get a bag, and you fill it with stuff that you would think that a child would need. And a child in need would need. So you fill it, and then you give it to a trusted friend, and they do the same. And then on December 20th, or until it's full, you give it back to us. And we distribute it to communities and schools, JC House, Riley Hospital for Children, and Genesis.
That's fantastic. And how did you come up with this? By the way, when I was in 6th grade, I was playing with Matchbox cars and baseball cards. She's changing the world, which is fantastic. That's today's generation. How did you come up with this idea?
I saw this commercial on TV, and it was where a whole bunch of basketball players from the Pacers, they went to Riley Hospital, and they just made everybody smile. And one of the nurses, they said that it just made all the kids smile, and they hadn't smiled in a whole long time.
So have you seen those smiles? I'm assuming you deliver as well, or you're involved in this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What has been some of the reaction of some of the individuals that you delivered things to?
We don't deliver them to directly to the
Okay.
the actual people, but we do give them to their managers, not managers, but
And
people.
what has been the response? Have people loved getting this?
Yeah, they're so happy, and it's nice.
Yeah, what's interesting here, Officer Stevens, you probably see this all the time. We have people, and certainly this is one of the younger that rise up, but you're probably seeing this all over our community, that during these times of need, this is where our community, where we rise up and help our most vulnerable citizens.
Regardless of what people think, and we've got issues in Richmond and Wayne County, but this still is a community and an area with a heart. And especially this time of the year, people do rise up from their own sofas and from the comfort of their own homes, and they see the needs of other people, and they are so willing, whether it be through churches or the individual, that people come out and they say, I see the need. And I'm reminded, but for the grace of God, there go I. And it very easily could have been any of us sitting there in need. So again, people come up and they say, what can I do?
Yeah, and I think the challenge from either a church perspective or the community perspective is we focus on this time of year, right? But this easily could be something all year round, and I'm sure you deal with that every day.
Absolutely. It is exciting. The phone calls have come in saying, listen, I don't have a need, but I want to get on board and help.
Sure.
And we've tried to find places to plug them in so everyone can be a part of an outreach such as ours. So it is great to see that resurgence of hope because I do believe Richmond does have a great heart. And
Yeah, I want to get back to both of you on this. The prison ministry, as Pastor was talking about, I think is an important aspect here. Incarceration, we forget about kind of the kids left behind. It's a big issue not to have some form of a parent or guardian of someone at home that can really look after some of the youth.
It really is. And arrests don't always solve the problems. In fact, maybe it'll solve a problem on an immediate circumstance, but in the end, a lot of times if it's a single parent and you're having to take that parent away from the children, it creates even greater hardship for the family, but specifically the kids, because now you're, lack of a better expression, using them as a football, and you're handing them off to another carrier until that mother or father can, complete whatever period of incarceration that they have.
Yeah, what has been the response when you deal with that issue from both the incarcerated individual and the child?
I know we get to speak with the guardians a lot, and this is our first year of doing this. This year is our first with this, but the response has just been overwhelmingly that someone would take the time and care for these children, and in the purchasing of gifts, and we wrap them, and we're going to deliver them, in fact, today. So, but talking to the guardians, the grandmothers, the aunts that take the custody temporarily of these children, just overwhelmingly grateful. So it's exciting.
Get in a little bit about, you had mentioned briefly, but the overseas connection that you have to third world countries. How did that arise? What does that entail, that program?
Well, at Bethesda Worship Center, we're very mission-minded, foreign and locally. We want to make sure that we have a balance of both. And we have done Operation Christmas Child for several years now. And we actually have a couple from our church that is serving overseas as missionaries, and they get to come and actually see things firsthand and share some stories that they've seen first and second hand, and to be able to deliver hope to a place that's completely impoverished. It's great to see that happening, and we get great feedback through the organization, and it's exciting.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm curious, have you been able to get some of your classmates to help you, and have you rallied them kind of around this cause? Have they gotten excited about it like you have?
Yes, all of my grade last year, because I do the Love Bugs, and we gave homemade Valentines to all of the residents of Arbor Trace, and that was really fun because everybody was just so happy.
Right.
And then this year, the whole entire grade got a bag, and we filled it up today, actually.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like you want to help throughout the year, correct?
Yes.
So this is obviously, how did you get involved in this? Like, how did you decide that I really want to start helping people? I think this is amazing. It's, where was I back when I was in 6th grade? One of those things. But how did you decide you really wanted to start to help individuals?
Well, I just, one day, it was November or December or something, and I want to help people, and it just happened, I guess, so.
That's fantastic. So your classmates they all enjoy it and they all love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Around this time of year, we always hear about crime, right? There's a lot of crime. Are there any crime prevention tips that many of us need to listen to and get some education on and take to heart?
Just recently, Chief Jim Branham, our chief of police, he had some signs made up, and we've been passing those out for the last week and a half to businesses in the downtown area and throughout Richmond, giving shoppers some of the safety tips as to how to protect themselves from becoming victims. One of those things is you don't want to, leave your vehicle unlocked, especially with high-priced and high-valued items in plain view. Your purse, it's a no-brainer. If you've got to leave it in the car, put it in the trunk, okay? I remind everyone, because not everybody out there is a good person with good intentions, if you go to a busy area, drive around first and make sure that you take a visual look as to what may seem normal, what may seem abnormal. We become so focused on, I got to get to the front door very quickly. I need to park as close as I can. But you pull up to a vehicle that's got 6 people sitting in it, and the music is blaring and all. I think that would be the hint. Maybe find a little safer location to get to. When you get those big high-dollar items at Christmas time, don't advertise that you got the 62-inch flat-screen TV and put the box out there on the curb that says, "Look what I've got under the tree." Be very careful about these things, and those are some of the safety tips. Just be ever vigilant, to be mindful of your surroundings, and we can all become victims in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and the other factor is the online stuff, right? The cyber fraud that we hear about, or phone calls to senior citizens or others. So I mean, that's another issue.
If somebody calls you and you are not familiar with them and they ask you to give personal banking information and personal information on that, please just hang up on them. We appreciate if you call the Wayne County Sheriff's Department or the Richmond Police Department and alert us, but don't give out that information on the telephone.
Yeah, and what we've seen a lot of times with the holidays, Pastor, it brings out the best in a lot of us, but there's also, I think, times that people prey upon those, and I think that's probably, you probably talk to your congregation, I'm sure, about some of these things.
Certainly. Unfortunately, with every blessing, there's someone out there that,
Sure.
that wants a piece of that blessing. And I think that if we diligently tune in and try to follow the Spirit of God, and I think that He leads and guides us and makes us aware of things perhaps we might miss in our own minds. But unfortunately, there are predators for every blessing, and I think we just have to stay tuned in.
Sure. Yeah,
Stay
to
alert.
what Officer Stevens talked about.
Absolutely.
The other part of this is the mental aspect. For some, the holidays is a great thing. It brings people together, families, so forth. There are those that they start thinking about other things that lead to depression and other things during the holidays. How do you cope with that from a religious standpoint, even from maybe a counseling standpoint?
I know that oftentimes holidays can sometimes be more troubling than
Sure.
celebrations for some, and I think point of contact is very important. I know that just our delivery drivers get the opportunity to just set food inside, and
Sure.
and many of, especially our senior citizens or those who are widowed and alone, just a hug or a pat on the back makes a large difference, because there are depressing times in the holidays, and I think that that's when we really need to step up, when we need to celebrate these moments and not slip into a depression. I think that if we really just continue with our spiritual practices, it will help us tune into this and be sensitive to the needs of others. I think it's a time that we can compensate for
Sure.
those predators. We can compensate for that loneliness by just reaching out and trying to be the hands and feet of Christ in those moments.
Yeah, and there's a lot of organizations, Officer, correct, that
Yes.
people can find out about, whether it's online or calling places to deal with some of these issues. I'm sure you're in the community almost every day, so you see a lot of this. But there are plenty of organizations that can help across almost any need that we have.
There are. The most difficult thing, though, is to recognize that we are in need, and then
Sure.
and being able to come outside of ourselves and say, I need help. And this is a time of the year that, unfortunately, as we celebrate, the birth of Christ, some people celebrate in an adverse manner.
Sure.
And the bad thing about it is we see an increase in suicide attempts, depression goes up, families who have lost loved ones, and it's a reminder this time of the year, unfortunately. But I mean, if you have questions, they can call the police department, they can call Reed Health. There are a number of avenues out there that they can get in contact with and be directed to the resources that they need. And before I say anything else, this is a shining star sitting at the end
Oh, no
there,
question.
Olivia.
Absolutely.
With what she's doing. We live in a community or in a world today where a lot of young people her age are looked at as being very selfish. But she has proven to go above and beyond seeing the needs of others. We need more Olivia Dudases out there. And I know that there are those that are out there, but she's just one bright shining star sometimes in a world that's filled with darkness.
I think we all maybe end up working for her someday. So
Probably.
there's no question. I am curious, though. Officer Stevens brought up a great point. Have you been able to get some of your other classmates to say, we really need to make a difference in our community? There's so many needs. You probably see other youth your age that are affected in some way. So have you been able to kind of get a lot of your classmates to join you in this cause?
Yeah, I think like a lot of my friends, and well, since I have a small school, like everybody's
Sure.
just family, I guess.
Right.
So we all just know we need to do this,
Yeah.
and it's just.
So how were you motivated? I know you said you saw the basketball players and those kind of things. How did you finally make up the decision that, hey, I want to do something here, and this is what I want to do, and I really want to make a difference? How did you arrive at that decision?
I just thought that if there were people in need, and their needs weren't being paid
Sure.
attention to,
Yeah.
they need attention.
And
with that
clearly your
stuff,
family
and-
has supported you in this, correct? Yeah.
yes.
So they drive you around and do all this?
Yeah.
So you get mom out and she's working with you?
Yeah.
What do we see? I mean, do we see things getting better in our community? I mean, I know this is a time to maybe look forward. So are we seeing some of these things that affect some of the needs? Are we seeing changes made?
I would remind everyone that it all starts with hello. If you want to make a change in someone's life, just say hello. Walk up to a stranger or you see somebody, you know, we become so preoccupied with our own being that we fail to look at the person right next to us and say hello. Say, how are you? And be patient enough to listen to them, because sometimes that will be that one word that says somebody actually does care. And be intent in listening to them, not only with your ears, but with your heart as well, because that may be that person crying out just simply in conversation and saying, I need help.
Yeah. And this is a time of year that does test patience, right, with a number of people. So I think you talked a little bit about it earlier, but just having more patience, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah. What do we see? Tips? I know we're coming into New Year's Eve, always a busy time for you guys. What kind of tips would you have for individuals? Because I know personally I don't like to see the red lights behind me, so I'm sure there's a lot of others that don't.
Stay home.
That's what I do.
Stay home.
I just try and make it till the ball drops anymore.
The safest, you know, I look, we call it home for a reason, not just because it's a house, but because everything that we need is right there. The idea of having to, unless it's going to a church service or something, the idea of having to go out and feel like we must celebrate when we cannot gauge the mindset of the other person and what their intentions are, I think the safest thing to do is celebrate it with your loved ones. Stay at home. Look, you know, there's nothing like joining hands with your husband, your wife, your children, you know, and just opening up that new year with a word of prayer and just knowing that we started out a year, you know, united, and then we'll close the year united.
Yeah. What's interesting, we're hustle bustle so much. We got about 3 minutes left, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. Hustle bustle, take time to really to reflect and those kind of things. I mean, is this a good time of the year to do that?
I think it's a fantastic, ideal time of the year to take a time out. And it's real easy to become self-absorbed. I think that's sort of the keynote to our culture right now. But when I look at the methodology of Christ, he was always looking at the needs of others. And I think that's a profile that we need to fall into, that take a moment and look at others and see how you can reach out and help. Consider the others. Love your neighbor as yourself. I think that if we'd done that, this would be an amazing place to live. But this time of year, it's really needed.
Yeah. And how many years have you done this now?
This is my second year.
Second year. So have you seen growth this year versus last year? Have you seen more?
Yes, we've had one more bag than last year.
That's awesome. That's great. And you probably had quite a few last year, right?
Yeah, we had
What are some of the
70.
things that go into the bag?
Probably like hygiene, things that you would use, and maybe toys or blankets or like pillows, just a whole bunch
things
of
like that.
Yeah, there's
so
a
how many
wide
bags?
range.
So how many bags did you collect last year? And you said we've got one more so far this year.
Last year we had 79.
That's fantastic.
And
That's
this
great.
year we have 80.
What's the
and
goal? Is the goal 100? Would you like to see 100?
As many as we can get.
That's awesome. Well, all three of you, thank you so much for the work you do. Officer Stevens, thank you for
Phil.
what you do every day. And Pastor, same to you. And Olivia, congratulations.
Thank you.
I tell you what, I admire you so much for the work you're doing, and your school should. So, by the way, I've never had a police officer and a pastor on the show. This is as safe as I've ever felt from a religious standpoint in front of security.
Well,
but it's
believe
great.
me, our professions go hand in hand.
Thank you all for the great work. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all
Merry
you,
Christmas.
and thank you for the work you're doing. Stay with us. We're going to catch up with Sandy Matthews from Meyer coming up next on the next segment. Stay with us at WCTV.
Hello, I'm Pastor Pat Dale, Associate Pastor at Bethesda Worship Center, and I'm here to inform you about our program, Christmas to Go. Christmas to Go is an outreach of Bethesda Worship Center that provides hot turkey meals to people in our community. If you'd like to request a meal, please call 765-939-2975. Be sure to leave a name, an address, phone number, and the number of meals requested. Please remember we only deliver to Richmond addresses. We'd also like to thank our many donors and supporters and other churches that helped during this event. Christmas to go, Bethesda Worship Center wants you to have the greatest Christmas possible. Merry Christmas.
I made myself a snowball, as perfect as could be. I thought to keep it as a pet and let it sleep with me. I made it some pajamas and a pillow for its head. Then, last night, it ran away, but first, it wet the bed.
Happy holidays from First Bank.
Great guys. And welcome back to In Focus at WCTV. We're going to catch up with Rick Wedlow, head basketball coach at Richmond High School, to talk a little bit about the holiday hoops and the holiday hoops tradition in our community. But first up, we've got Sandy Matthews, store manager at Meijer. Welcome, thank you. Oh, I'm curious, I want to get your thoughts. I know you saw the first segment with the guests. Wanted to get your thoughts on your impressions and what you saw.
It was just inspiring,
Sure.
I would say, and we are a big part of a lot of those things that they
yeah.
talked about. So it's exciting, and to see, especially when the community gives back.
And Meijer's been such a great corporate partner to really all of us in the community. I do want to get to the million-dollar question here. How has been the activity? What's been the activity like so far on the holiday shopping and so forth?
Well, for us, it has been wonderful.
Great.
We were told corporately, just with all the online giving that grows every single year, to be prepared to be flat or even just a little bit under what our sales projections were. And since our remodel, we haven't been flat in anything. So,
That's fantastic.
so we've had a great year.
You're a natural at this. I did have that on here to talk about. What has the online, I guess, meant? What has that presence meant to the retailers, and specifically maybe your business? Has it affected you at all?
I think it affects us every year.
Sure.
There's more and more new businesses online. I think you can find anything at a click of a button. And so clearly it's a very competitive nature in the retail field. I mean, people can sit in their jammies on their couch and take care of Christmas as opposed to getting out and coming into a busy store. So so that is a hard thing to compete against. But we have Meijer.com. We have an e-commerce side of our business as well, and it is over projections this year as well.
That's great.
And then in certain stores we have home delivery that we've tested this year, and we'll eventually get that probably by spring. They tested it in major markets, and it has been double digits over what they projected it to be. So there's a lot of different aspects to shopping, and the great thing for us is that people still love to touch it and feel it and see it and compare it, and people need to eat. And so having that side of our business is always a plus.
And by the way, I'm your best customer. I'm the type of customer you want, is that I go in for a pound of butter, I end up buying a stool, a light, and all that stuff.
We appreciate that.
Not sure. But I do want to get with that. That's got to help you, right? So you have everything under one roof, and I think, is there one side of the business this time of year that does better than the other side? So either the food or the home goods and that kind of thing.
Yes, and that changes sometimes daily.
Okay.
So a great example would be Thanksgiving week. So the first half of the week is all food.
Right.
And the second half of the week with Black Friday
Sure.
and our special sales is all on the general merchandise side. So it's a very well-balanced week depending on what's going on. And I think the Christmas season is the same way. Holidays really
Sure.
dictate what we do. Weather dictates what we do.
Yeah, right.
And so and that changes every day.
Yeah, we talked a little bit in the opening part of our conversation about Meijer being such a great corporate citizen. You kind of hear the needs, you saw it. You are involved, I know, so active in our community and some of those things. Have you seen some of the needs grow over the years? You said off air that you've been here 18 years now. Have you seen some of those needs grow in our community?
We have. I think, I mean, just today I had an outside customer who called and just said that they know of a family who's struggling and, you know, could we help out? And of course we do thousands of donations, but those are through nonprofit organizations. And so, but I was able to refer her to a couple different services that I knew in town, and then also said if they're affiliated with a nonprofit somewhere, they can, you know, fill out a donation request under their numbers and we can help in that way. And then really we see a lot of struggle with our own team members. So just yesterday I had someone who came to me and had some concerns and didn't quite know if she could make it through the year. And so we try to take care of our people in that way as well, and refer them to where they can get some help. And it's a very, very giving community. I've been in major cities with Meyer over the last 33 years, and this is my first small town, if you will, compared to Cincinnati, Dayton, and Indianapolis. And so it's, and I've chosen to stay here, and a big part of that is just because of this community. I feel like even though I'm a transplant, this is home, and a lot of it has to do with how people will come together for need.
Yeah, that's fantastic. By the way, I love your location, 5 minutes from my house, so it's perfect. But your location is uniquely positioned off of 70, so I'm curious, do you see this, especially this time of year, do you see a lot of traffic coming inbound from Ohio? Do we see some outlining areas that you might take advantage of?
Yeah, our marketing makeup is quite diverse. We go all the way to Greenville, Eaton, we go all the way to Winchester and beyond. We have a customer base, very strong customer base, all the way to Newcastle, and then Union County and beyond. So it is a very wide customer base, and we factor that in and look at that when we have rural communities. I have a family from Portland that comes in once a month, and they make a whole day of it. They bring coolers in their trunk. They go eat at Cracker Barrel, and they stop and check in. And they do that once a month. That's what they want to take part in. And so you wouldn't think that Portland would be in our marketing makeup. But yeah, so we pull from all over, and I think the convenience of being on the highway is always a great thing. It's just accessible, even with construction. And yeah, unfortunately that comes with easily accessed for theft and things of that nature. So there are some disadvantages to being located right there. But overall, I think it really services our customer well.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting point I think you bring up. I think people see you in that one location and they forget how broad of a base you carry. And because of the 70 access in Ohio right there, I think people forget how much money that you and Meyer bring into our community through that. And you talked a little bit about that. How do you market? So how do you market to those areas? Is it online? Is it newspaper, radio, those kind of things? What kind of marketing strategy have you guys been able to employ?
Well, we're considered a promotional supercenter. So we have constant advertising that we do. We do a lot of print advertising. We do a lot of digital advertising. We do direct mail advertising as well. Hand-picked deals is something that's new that came out this year, and that has been very well received. It's all connected to our customers' M-Perks, the online digital coupons, and so it gives us a great database and a great way to personally give special discounts and incentives to our customers. So I think there's a lot of different ways that we do it. We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook. You can go on there and like Meyer, and you get special updates that way as well. And you know, my M-Perks comes on my text, and so I know when there's a special M-Perks promotion coming up. And so we've really gotten out there in the last couple years to not just have that ad that's in the Sunday paper, but also to try a lot of different venues, and I think that helps people. But there is just something about that ad. People come in, go right to that ad board every time.
That's awesome. So I'm curious, you know, like my kids are older, so they said, give me cash and gift cards. So gift cards, big this time of the year. Do you guys do a lot in gift card business?
Yes, and we have expanded our gift card business. I mean, obviously we'll have, you know, Visa and MasterCard cards that we can have, reloadable cards, Meyer cards. However, we have really expanded in the last 3 years to offer I think we offer around 80 other cards available in one location. So you can go there and get restaurant cards, other retailers even. And so you can kind of do all of the shopping there. And then we also offer some pretty deep discounts for area businesses that want to purchase large amounts of Meijer cards. And so that's been a nice perk that we've been able to offer at the holiday time as well.
Yeah, and the 26th, right? December 26th, always a good time to redeem those, right? So people
Right.
come in.
And get a great deal.
Yeah, is that a good time to shop? I mean, the 26th, is that still considered a good day?
It is.
Okay.
It's called clearance heaven, is what our customers call it.
I love that.
And so we work all night long the night before
Right.
to price everything. And
Right.
so for those holiday related
Sure.
type things, yeah.
Yeah, and so what are the hot items this year? Are there specific items that people are looking at saying, you know, this is or what you see over and over, I guess?
Yes. So depending on the area, there's
Right.
a lot of things going on. The new Nintendo Switch
Okay,
is the new
sure.
game system, and that is very popular. And we get them and put them on the shelf, and within hours they're gone. It's
Wow.
amazing. Like the word spreads really quickly. Hatchables and toys, fingerlings and toys. Those are all fingerlings are new, but hatchables were out last year, and so always Hot Wheels and Nerf guns.
Right.
That I think those things have been around as long as
Guy
I have,
stuff,
and they're
right?
still
Yeah.
popular. So yeah, and then a lot of the lights on the houses were a big deal this year. That where you can project things.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
projector Christmas lights are really
Forgot
popular.
all about that. You're right. I just thought about that. So I think people forget electronics. I mean, with you guys, very big, right? It's a big item.
Huge.
Yeah.
It is a very big area of business, especially this time of year. A lot of photo processing. People love to do personal gifts, canvas prints, and
Sure.
things like that. You know, get a picture on a mug and things, and we do all of that at the Photo Lab.
So inventory critical, right? This time of year for stores like yourself. How do you manage to keep the shelves restocked, so to speak? And then what do you do with those items that don't sell, that maybe are tailored more for the holiday season?
Well, we watch all of that
Okay.
corporately. Our merchant partners in Michigan watch that really closely. We might have some product that was just what we call one and done that
Sure.
we got in for Black Friday, and they're very quick to react, and they can do a discounted price for that if stores are sitting on it. I think of Big Joe chairs that we had. They're big beanbag chairs, and
Right.
they pipe into your headphones and all of that. And so they quickly reacted with a great price drop on that because that's not a normal item that we carry. And so they watch that really closely, and we do as well. And but to restock it, it's all on third shift. So on
Okay.
third shift in our building, we're open 24 hours, 7
Yeah,
days a week.
right.
We only close on Christmas. So there is probably more action on third shift and more activity that's happening with getting the shelves filled than it is going on right now.
Do you see holiday activity continue? Like you said, 24 hours. So do you see it through the nights? I mean,
Oh, yes.
This time of the
So
year,
we
yeah.
have factories all around us in the
Okay.
hospital, and
Sure.
yes, it doesn't ever stop. They're just in there at all hours. I'm in early in the morning, and there's people all over the place.
So how does this store compare to other Meijers? I think people want to get a comparison, maybe a city our size or others. What type of activity do you see here versus others in similar size?
Well, Richmond, Wayne County should be very proud. So
Good.
our
That's good to
store,
hear.
we're one of 8 stores in what we call the Dayton market, and we're
Okay.
the sales leader
That's
in that
cool.
market.
Congratulations
and
to
we're
you
the
as well.
smallest store.
Okay.
So sales per square foot is the highest in that market. So it really doesn't have to do with the size of the town. It's really the loyalty of that customer, and we have just really dedicated, loyal customers that it's the reason we're here, and it's the reason the store does well.
Now you're looking at one. I'm a big fan. What should shoppers know? As we got about 5 minutes to go here, or 7 minutes to go. What should shoppers really be aware of as they get into, as we get only another week to go, so to speak? So, what are some tips and things maybe shoppers need to look out for?
Well, I think the great thing to look out for is all the special sales. Right. So we run weekend sales with Santa Bucks. One of them just started today that runs through
Awesome.
Saturday. You kind of make your own sale.
Sure.
So use your own Santa Buck on whatever you maybe have been eyeing for a while and you want to make that good. The other thing is M-Perks. You just cannot go wrong with M-Perks, and it's such a simple sign-on process. We can do it at the store, you can do it on your phone or on a computer, and it just gives you a lot of great discounts. And I hate to see people missing those discounts, and so I'm always an advocate for M-Perks and telling people about it. And I think the other thing is just plan. Just try to have some kind of planning about themselves. I always tell people, have at least some kind of general idea of what you want and ask us. We will help you and we'll find it. I worked in our Tree seasonal area on Saturday for about 5 hours. And, you know, we might not have had the exact things that someone had on their list, but we were able to find them a substitute. And so just ask us. We're really creative, and my team will go out of their way to find it and help them, or we'll call another store and see if we can find it there.
And I know you guys work a lot on this with safety. We kind of talked about it with Officer Stevens here earlier. People should feel safe. Parking lots, no issues there, but I'd maybe touch a little bit on that. I know you guys spend some time and resources to do that.
We do. So we do have our own security, and we are just, it's very busy. There's a lot of things going on. We're very aware. We always have people that are working out on the lot, inside the store. If anyone feels uncomfortable at all about anything at all, you just ask and we'll help you out to your car. And really, it's a very safe place to be, and we you know, we feel that we need to have that for our customers as well as our team members, or for myself even.
Sure.
And so, yeah, but I think exactly what Officer Stevens said. Be aware of those around you, and because unfortunately there is, you know, those that want to take advantage of this time of year and packages and purchases and all of that. You know, don't leave your purse around. You know, people are very trusting, so they'll have a purse in the front and the top of the baby seat in the cart and not really pay attention to that. And so I've even coached some people and said, why don't you put that down here just in case.
Don't leave the
we
cart.
don't want to invite it.
Yeah,
so, Yeah.
You know, a lot of discussion. I want to end with this. I want to get your thoughts. You guys are a staple on Chester Boulevard there. A lot of discussion on Chester being kind of the next national road. I think there's a lot of room for growth, especially where the old Reed was and so forth. Would you like to see more retail on Chester Boulevard? Would that help your business as well?
I think all competition is good, and no matter what type it is, whether it's restaurants or retail or specialty shops, I just think all of that is a good draw. I remember even last year when the car wash opened, you know, and otherwise you had to go to the east side of town, and now there's a car wash available on the north side, and there used to be one there when we opened. Right at the entrance at IU East, actually. So I think I think all of that is good. I think it helps people to sharpen the saw a little bit and make sure that you're not just the only one in town. And so I think all of that just brings more business to that north side. And for us, it's a great advantage just because there's several ways to get to the store, whether it's the highway or, you know, the other access roads. And so I think all of that just helps bring people up to that north side, which I've been able to watch it grow. I remember when it was really nothing there at all. And so it's exciting to see it grow.
Well, thanks for all you do. And Meyer, as a corporate partner in our community, I know how active you are as well. So thank you. It's as being a shopper there, you do a great job getting me in and out. But it's great to have you in our community. Thanks so much for all you do, and we'll keep an eye out.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Stay with us as we're going to talk with Rick Wedlow, the head basketball coach at Richmond High School. We're going to catch up on some holiday hoops when we come back.
Season's greetings. My name is John Cook, and I'm the Performing Arts Manager at the Civic Hall Performing Arts Center. I would like to wish the happiest of holidays to the staff of the Civic Hall Performing Arts Center, our amazing Usher Corps, also the Civic Hall Associates Board, the Richmond Symphony Orchestra staff, our season ticket holders, the great sponsors, our program advertisers, and all the Richmond community. Warmest wishes to everyone, and Happy New Year.
Watch Wayne County Connection on WGTV Channel 11, Tuesdays at 6. I'm your host, Michael Swiger. Join me this month as I speak with Guy Guthrie, treasurer of Christian Charities and Backpack Blessings. And then we speak with Caleb Smith, the coordinator of the Richmond Farmers Market. We talk about food deserts and food distributions and addressing hunger needs in our communities. Watch Wayne County Connection on WGTV, Channel 11, Tuesdays at 6.
And welcome back to In Focus. A very special thanks to all of our guests on segment 1 and 2. But I'm a little partial. I love our third guest here. He's the head basketball coach at Richmond High School, Rick Wedlow. Coach, great to have you here. It's always good to see you got 2 point guards here. So, you know, we share the ball well, so it'll be good. You know, one of the things we talked about is so many things going on in our community for the holidays. A tradition is the Bob Weddick tournament, which you guys are going to host again. I think what's so cool there is you get so many good teams and so many people from outside our community that come in for a couple days. It's great to have them in our community, right?
Absolutely. Going into our 10th year of the Bob Weddick tournament, we seem to have probably one of the best fields that we've had of the Bob Weddick's existence. And very, very proud and very humbled and looking forward to the competition. We have teams from all over the state. It's clear up in the region from Valparaiso, Portage, and then down south, you know, we'll have Franklin Central. We have a good penetration from the Indianapolis market. We have a couple of home schools, Crispus Attucks, as well as Tinley will be down. So we have 2 defending state champions coming down. Shelbyville has joined the tournament this year. And we're just excited. I mean, you know, we're looking forward to just going out and competing and being good hosts. You know, we've always, you know, done a good job of hosting, you know, visitors to our community. And, you know, it's been a blessing for those businesses in the area, right there along the Mancinos and the Arby's and the Hotheads. And then also the hospitality and tourism aspect of our Richmond Square Mall. They get a little bit more activity during that time. And of course, you know, we have the Hampton Inn and Holiday Inn Express out there and so forth. So, you know, we're very fortunate that Wings and Rings is a sponsor. And you know, they do a good job of catering to all of our teams with free meals every day. And, you know, it's just a special event for our community and our school and our administration. And, you know, they've always done great with supporting it.
Yeah, what's interesting, and certainly the Tiernan Center is a fantastic venue to host all of that. What's interesting, you're getting the sectional as well this year. Talk a little bit about Richmond. It's got such a rich tradition in basketball, specifically high school basketball, and I thought it was great to have you on because, I mean, around the holidays, kids come back, people come back to their alma mater and certainly want to come out and see what the team's doing. Just from a basketball standpoint, it's great to kind of have that as families could come. The Tiernan Center, a great place to see a game. How big is Holiday Hoops? I mean, it's big, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, Richmond basketball has had tremendous tradition over the years. And unfortunately, you know, during my era, you know, we've had our struggles. You know, things have been a little lean around here, but we're really working hard to getting that back. We're trying to instill the fact with our players that there's a lot of tradition. You know, going back to, you know, the Rick Thalls and, you know, the Robbie Willises and
Vegas Ferguson.
Vegas Fergusons and all those guys, you know, the John Browns and Jerry Colemans and Woody Austins. Unfortunately, a lot of the players we have now, they don't have a clue, you know, about the Woody Austins. And, you know, we have one of our guys that's a special advisor, special assistant, David Cruz. You know, he's a big Red Devil fan, and David comes around and, you know, talks a lot about the good old days. And you know, I remember as a middle school kid in 1987, I really thought that Gary Roosevelt had a chance to win that state championship. The Final Four, I believe, was Marion, Richmond, Gary Roosevelt. Can't remember the fourth team, but I remember when Richmond beat Roosevelt. I was at the game at Marcus Square Arena, and when we went back to the hotel, I cried. I shed tears, and I never thought I didn't know anything about Richmond, and I was very shocked that there was some good basketball. And from that point, the region and Gary, of course, gained a lot of respect for Richmond. And then, of course, visiting here and on my college visit to Earlham, there were several players over there that came over and played with us. Robert Sanders and Billy Wright and Derek Thomas and Damon Lewis. They were over there playing, and we hit it off very well. And those guys could play. And I didn't think there was that type of talent. When you're young, you just think the region is the best basketball in the state. But it was a great experience for us, for myself, to learn that Richmond is a basketball haven. And right now with our youth program, we have over 200 kids playing from K through 6. Our middle school program, they're holding their own. Our freshman program, they're playing hard and competing. Our JV team led by yourself, they're playing hard. And I think our varsity guys, they're playing hard and competing, and that's a step in the right direction. And we just want to withhold the tradition and try to get it back. And we want to make Richmond basketball relevant again. And that's what the goal is. We're going to keep working hard, and we're going to try to bring in former players to speak with our guys and talk about the tradition. Obviously, it'll never be back to, it'll be tough or challenging to get back to 7,000 or 8,000 fans per night, just because of the changes in our community and in our economy and things of that nature. But we like to make it a true home court advantage, and we want to make our community proud. And just get excited about getting behind these kids, because at the end of the day, with the things that are going on in our community, there's a lot of heavy hearts going on right now, and there's some families that are really struggling. And my hope and my goal is to inspire our kids, to inspire our community, inspire people that there are a lot of great things going on in our community. And on Fridays and Saturday nights and sometime Tuesday nights, there's nothing better to do but to come and visit the Tiernan Center and grab a bag of popcorn and a Powerade or Coke and maybe a big hot dog or something, and just come out and enjoy Richmond basketball. And that's what it's all about.
Well, you're a heck of a salesman too, by the way. What's interesting, I do want to touch on something. We had the first segment, we talked a lot about the needs of our community. I think a lot of those needs, they can't be solved, but I think it can help getting kids involved in sports. I want to get your thoughts. Certainly basketball is where you're at, but you're also a teacher. You also teach at Richmond High School, so you see this every day. I still believe sports can be kind of, whether it's a distraction from other stuff that's going on, but I think it could be life lessons and life learnings that for kids. And I'm just a true believer in sports. I know you're around it as well.
Absolutely. In fact, my official position is career pathway specialist with the career education program, and my job is to encourage the kids, keep them on their path to be whatever they want to be, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's someone in the construction business, an automotive service technician, someone that wants to be a journalist, an architect, CNC operator, an entrepreneur, someone in marketing, an accountant, and things of that nature. And so I work, Rusty Hensley and myself, we work hand in hand. And, obviously we have our cosmetology program, our CNA program. So I get off campus and I work with the directors, the program directors of those facilities. And, we just try to keep our kids on track and moving forward. But definitely sports provide an opportunity to be a part of a team. There's a lot of life lessons bigger than winning and losing. Absolutely. And in this time, in this generation, with the cell phones and the video games, we call it the instant gratification of the cell phone and the social media and things like that. I think it's important for kids to be involved in sports. And it's not being the best player. You know, it's about being part of a team,
right?
And trying to achieve a common goal.
Becomes a family as well,
exactly,
right?
and having objectives and steps to the process. I think being a part of a team creates an understanding of what it's like to be a part of a team. You know, being a hard worker, you know, being punctual, being on time, you know, following rules, and then also handling adversity. Because one of the things that this generation that is really struggles with is coping, and things don't always go your way, and sometimes you have to dig deep within yourself, and you have to overcome adversity, and you have to take the good with the bad. And when you think things are going really bad, you have to find a way to stay in the middle. And when things are going really, really good, you don't want to get too full of yourself.
Right.
You want to stay in the middle.
Trust me, they can fall in a hurry.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it happens like
Right.
that. And so, fortunately for me, coming up in Gary, Indiana, I grew up right across the streets from Dory Miller Projects. I didn't realize how tough my neighborhood was because I felt like everybody grew up the way I grew up. And, you know, it was pretty rough. And fortunately, my grandmother always got me registered on time. I played baseball. I was a catcher in baseball. I played football. I was a running back, a linebacker, a safety. Started out young because I was a little chubby kid. I played offensive line, defensive line, and then of course I was always a point guard my whole life. And I was fortunately back in those days, you know, a lot of the coaches they weren't dads. They were just guys that gave back, and they enjoyed the game, and they were role models. And I think the Lord has put me in this position or put me on this pathway because the gift of loving human beings and want to inspire people. And, you know, a lot of our kids, there's a lot of male role models and male figures missing from a lot of families and a lot of homes. And you know, I think that, you know, it's important for myself to try to be a role model. Although no one's perfect, but I try to, you know, move in a positive way and just try to encourage all the time. And very thankful to be a part of Richmond High School. Very, very blessed, very humbled, very thankful to be the head coach of Richmond basketball. There's been a lot of great coaches in Richmond in all of their sports.
Sure.
And, you know, there's been some tough acts to follow. And so I try to learn every day, and there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of learning to be done. But, you know, I rely on people like yourself that's very knowledgeable about the game, you know, well-known, well-liked in the community. You know, I still, you know, go back and visit with Chad Bozers. You know, I've had a few conversations with Coach Griff, state champion coach, Jeff Williams, who was an assistant on that state championship team. You know, he's the director of my youth program, and he's always someone to lean on. And so when I first took the job, you know, I was encouraged to keep, you know, good basketball people, experienced people around me.
Sure.
And so I've gotten to know Doug Mitchell, you know, Coach Chitty at Columbus East. And, you know, I've reached out to Coach Shannon down in New Albany. And, you know, James Blackman's a friend of mine now. And,
Yeah, you're always learning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Kiefer at Lawrence North. And so it's nice to have folks that are experienced, and I humble myself and always ask for advice and just try to get better every day.
About 15 seconds left. Bob, wedding tournament coming up. When's the dates again?
December 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Right.
That's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Another real quick question. Expectations? Going to have a pretty competitive team, and you got a shot at it.
Yeah. I mean, one of our goals is to, obviously, one of our first tests, if you will, or first evaluations is the Bob Weddick tournament. You know, we want to always show well in the Bob Weddick tournament. Ultimate goal is to win the tournament because we're the host. It's our tournament. The NCC is another goal, to win the NCC. And, of course, you know, the basketball gods blessed us with the sectional here in Richmond, and
listen,
we
Coach,
hope to play well.
We got to leave it there. You're doing a great job. You're the right man for the job. I appreciate it. Thank you to all of our guests here today that have been here, especially Coach Wedgelow. Thank you to WCTV Television and In Focus. On behalf of all of us, a very happy holiday season.